What's up, Dub Nation? I'm Allie Barefoot. My producer, Jack, is right here to my left, and we have a packed show for you guys today as we are now 5 days away from the Golden State Warriors starting their training camp. So I want you guys to tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in the future of the Warriors right now? We're about to unpack what GM Mike Dunleavy said and Steve Kerr in their press conference. But before we get to their answers, we want to hear from you. Scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go 7. I like 7. It's a good mix. Got some new players coming in, but we still do want you guys to type in those comments. And I told you we're going to be talking about Steve Kerr. He did address the media. He addressed numbers of things, including his future with the Warriors and some future player with the Warriors. But first and foremost, you can't play without a head coach, so Steve Kerr is here to stay. He did say in his press conference, "I feel great about my position here. I want to be here. I know Mike and Joe want me here, and so I'm very confident something will get done, but I'm not stressed about it at all. I'm perfectly capable of coaching whether I have 1 year left or an extension makes no difference." That's what you like to hear. You like to hear a coach with confidence in your team. Whether or not they're going to give him that extension, he's like, look, I'm here to ball, I'm here to coach ball, and we want him to be with the Warriors. He has won 473 games, lost 238 games in his 9-year career as a Warriors coach, and he's also had multiple trips to the NBA Finals, so you'd be stupid not to give him an extension. But he said, if I don't get it, I'm here to stay. But we got to talk about 2022. The Warriors did lack a little bit of connectivity. Of course, Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole in the face is going to have a little bit of beef in the locker room, but it also didn't flow the best sometimes on offense on the court. So Steve Kerr did address the mishaps last season. He said a year ago, we came in off a championship and let our guard down to a little bit, frankly. It's human nature, but it's sort of the way things work. When you lose in the second round and you feel like you've had a disappointing year, it's a lot easier to come in and be focused. It's a lot easier for me to come in as a coach and be more demanding. I think the players will expect that too. So it's good. We're off to the right start in the fact that Steve Kerr wants to be better than they were last year. I can guarantee you every player on the team wants to be better. They shipped out Jordan Poole to the Washington Wizards. They got rid of that drama. Yes, they did sign Magruder, which has a little bit of drama in that locker room right now, but ultimately, I think when you take Jordan Poole out of the equation, he was shooting Steph Curry shots when there was 9 seconds left on the clock. I think it's going to flow a lot better, in my opinion. But the Warriors do have 6 starters now, if you want to count Chris Paul, which they did sign the 38-year-old in the offseason. And Steve Kerr addressed this, what his role is going to be heading into the season. He said, I'm thrilled to coach him. He's one of the great competitors I've ever seen. His command of the game, the way he controls the action, his teams tend to get a great shot possession after possession. He understands what wins. So I'm really excited to coach Chris, and I know he's really excited to be here. We basically have 6 starters the way that I look at it. Only 5 can go each night. I haven't decided yet on what we're going to do. Now, this one concerns me just a little bit because the Warriors' main thing in the offseason was to get some size, and they got Chris Paul, which is kind of the opposite. So if you want to go with Chris Paul as a starter, then you're choosing to be shorter in your starting 5. Whereas if you go with somebody like Kevon Looney, then you're obviously putting that height right there in the number 5 position. So in my opinion, you got to go with the core 3 of Draymond, Steph, and Klay in the starting 5, and then get Looney in there and Kuminga. I don't think Chris Paul should be a starter in this team, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I think 6-man would be a great addition for the 38-year-old. Now, Jonathan Kuminga breakout is coming, according to Steve Kerr. He did mention that this is a player he wants to see popping out this season, and I'll tell you what he said. He said, I'm excited about JK. He's had a really good summer. I was getting reports routinely when I was overseas, and the coaches were all raving about him, saying that he really wanted to work hard. He understood what's needed of him. I think it'll be very helpful for him to play with Chris Paul. Chris is a way of making the game easier for people. I anticipate them spending time on the court together and Chris helping to unlock some of that potential. Otherwise, JK is in his 3rd year. He's getting better. He's working hard and is right on track to get where he needs to be. I'm just as excited as you are, Steve Kerr. I think this is going to be the year Kuminga finally steps out, and adding a veteran like Chris Paul is only going to have more experience when it comes to the advice he's giving. You've already got Steph Curry, which is one of the greats. You added another one, although he doesn't have as many rings as the others do. I think Chris Paul is a great person to go to for advice. Kuminga is kind of on the brink of really being that make it or break it player. He averaged almost 10 points per game last year, about a 52.5% field goal percentage shooter. I want to see that go up. I want the points to go up. I want Kuminga to absolutely dominate this year. Up next, we are going to be bringing up Dunleavy's comments in his press conference. But first, I want you guys to hear about my new favorite app, Prize Picks. It's a daily fantasy sports app where all you have to do is pick more or less for about 2 to 6 players' stat projections, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. It's super easy to use. It takes 60 seconds. These are my picks that I've made already ahead of the NBA season. Of course, I had to go with Steph Curry shooting more than 28.9 points per game. But I did put Klay Thompson to have less than 4.2, and I mean slightly less, maybe 3. If you don't agree with me, make your own picks. It's so easy. It takes less than 60 seconds. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. The link and description are always in the chat. Watch yourself win some money in real time. Now, Mike Dunleavy had a lot to say during this press conference, and he should. There's a lot of storylines heading into the regular season. But first, I think the number one thing is, why did the Chris Paul trade happen in the first place? When we needed to discuss the size, then you went and added a very shocking move by signing the 38-year-old vet. He's older than 31, unfortunately. But Dunleavy did say this about Chris Paul. He's coming off a championship. Just 2 years ago, I think we all feel like we're still right there. And so to make a move to bring in Chris was, some may see it as short-sighted, short-term, but yeah, it helps us win now, and then it gives us some future financial flexibility. And the hardest part is, as you mentioned, trading a younger player that we liked, that's only going to keep getting better, but you've got to make some tough decisions in this business. This is the one that we calculated and felt made sense for now and moving forward. I definitely don't blame him for making the business decision on this one. Why would you not sign Chris Paul? Please let me know. I think he's a fantastic player. No, he has not won any championships yet, but he has been a part of the Phoenix Suns, who have been constant contenders in the playoffs, and he's a great man at the top of the key. Like I said, he is key at dishing out passes. That's what you need. Get Steph Curry the ball. Get Klay Thompson that ball. No, he may have less points per game this year than he does in the past, but he's been a great asset to Devin Booker, and I think he's going to be a great asset to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Thankfully, the Chris Paul beef with Draymond is officially over, according to Mike Dunleavy. They did address this, which I feel like you had to, because these were some fighting words, in my opinion. But Draymond has been known to make spicy comments. So Dunleavy said, yeah, I think you realize that these guys are all adults, are guys that have been here, the veterans plus Chris, who have been around the league, played many years, and they all have one thing in common at this point in their career. They want to win. And that common thread, we felt like, will unify the group. There may be some awkwardness or uncomfortableness, which I think is probably so in the media that it is with these guys. They're already connected, getting together in different areas, playing. So that stuff, I don't have a lot of worries about it. I just think the common thread of competitiveness, intelligence, and being adults, those things work out. And I'm really glad to hear this. I think that obviously you've got Rudy Magruder, who already has some comments about Klay Thompson and Draymond Green already lingering in the locker room. You didn't need this on top of it, and I would really hope they would be men. I know Draymond said, I don't want to play with him. I never wanted to play with him. Well, don't cry about it. I think you're here, and I think you just need to squash all the beef and just move on and try to win that championship. But it's going to be hard because it doesn't seem like the Warriors are really adding any more size. That was the main question in the press conference. The fact that they didn't sign Dwight Howard, so now the Warriors are wondering, when is that size going to actually come? Well, Dunleavy did say, I'm looking into it. At training camp right now, we have 5 guys who can give us minutes at the 5 position. I think about it through camp, making sure everybody gets the appropriate amount of reps. Our rookie, Trace Jackson Davis, we drafted in the second round. We want him to get more reps. Garuba, the same thing. He's a young player. We want him to play, but we'll constantly be evaluating this situation. Obviously, he said some other things, but ultimately, they didn't end up signing Dwight Howard after that was rumored around the NBA for quite some time. So you do have to address it at some point. They did say in the media that they want to kind of sign a bigger player towards the trade deadline or more in the middle of the season. They did just sign Rudy Gay yesterday, but I ultimately don't think that still solves your big number 5 question. But I'm glad that he's now finally speaking on it, and hopefully the Warriors can still get that main big guy soon. But Kerr and Thompson don't seem to be going anywhere, which is great news. We already talked about Steve Kerr and how he feels about not getting an extension. He's like, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep coaching, as long as they want me here. But Klay Thompson, on the other hand, has had rumors about a contract extension, and finally they were acknowledged. He said, yeah, I think it's in a good spot in the sense that both sides, want to be back. We want these guys to continue to be here. I think those guys want to find ways to re-sign and extend their contracts. So that's the most important thing right off the bat. And I think from there, you're hopeful a deal can get done. So we'll continue to talk with their representation and work through it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine what it would look like without Steve coaching this group or Klay being a part of it. So we want to continue to pursue that. Warriors fans should be delighted to hear this news. I can't imagine the Warriors without Klay Thompson or Steve Kerr. I've always paired the two together along with Steph Curry. So the fact that Dunleavy is really putting that energy out there that we want them to stay. No, there's no paperwork yet and it's nothing in writing, but I think it shows initiative that they want these players to stay. So do you think, are the Dubs NBA Finals contenders? With all this new information that you have now processed from the head coach, from the GM, do you think this can be the Dubs' year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think yes. I think it's going to be hard. It's been hard the past few years. But ultimately, that's why we're here. We're talking about whether or not they can win the championships. We're bringing you rumors and news. So we want you to subscribe to the Warriors channel at Chat Sports because we're going to be up to date with the up-to-date information we can give you.